First of all, I want to say
I
that
don't.
it took me a while to get into it, but when I finally got into it, I was having a fun time. But it reminded me of two things. And part of it is the first part of it and the last part take place in Germany. And I've known each and every one of the people you're introduced to, even the old lady who dies
Mhm.
at
Oh,
the
really?
end. But and then you go to an ex-communist country, which is like a third world shithole.
Yeah.
There's a great book by okay, I forget the guy's name, but he was Romanian, and it's called the Hole in the Flag, which is about the revolution in Romania, and Ceausescu being stood up against a wall and shot. But anyway,
Which I saw on television.
Weren't they hung? I thought they were hung.
Oh no, they were taken out and back and blown
Or
away.
they're shot.
they were
Okay.
just cut down, I believe.
Yeah.
Who were the ones that got beaten to death with iron bars? Which Iron Curtain country was that?
Wow. Okay, but now we're off on a
Might have
really
been the
tangent.
Hungarians.
Yeah, I don't know.
Guy's
Can't
name.
remember.
Also, it looks like
Anyway.
Romania is a kind of an extraction industry country. There's mostly it's oil producing, right?
Well, that's why the Germans. That's why they
Yeah.
were allies with the Germans.
Yeah, I thought that was
Because
like
when they lost Romania to the Allies, they had
they
to
ran
start
out of fuel real quick.
squeezing shale to get their
Yeah,
gasoline.
that's
away.
not good.
Uh,
So
Anyway,
anyway, okay.
Did you have anything more? Was that it, Jim?
yeah, and it's funny that like I could follow it pretty well when they were just talking with each other, but at one point he says Negermusik for the jazz or whatever it is, which is
Huh.
literally
Oh yeah,
N-word
that's
N-word music.
even there. You're not supposed to really.
and then almost like within a half a minute of that, she's looking through the closet and she goes, "Oh, Stahlhelm," and I was like, God, she can't be more than 40 or 45, and she knows what a Stahlhelm is. It's the classic German Nazi headgear.
I mean, I don't think you have to be that old to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
But it took me 3 nights to get through this thing. This was one of the most unpleasant comedies I've ever seen.
This is the best character in the movie.
Yeah, well, the shaggy guy is great. He's kind of a punctuation, but this
I
is
think he's talking about the girl.
this poor woman who's trying to get along with a career is just being basically terrorized by her
What
father.
about YabtM but in German and without the jokes?
Yeah, exactly. With his complete lack of sense of humor and all the little fake teeth and like that. It was like an evil version of Patch Adams, basically. It was watching this guy go off.
It's My Father the Hero, but somehow worse.
No,
Yeah,
this is funny.
yeah,
Had you seen
exactly.
this one, John?
Pardon?
Had you seen this one?
Yeah, I saw it when it came out.
Yeah.
I wanted
So,
to see it when it came out because the reviews
about halfway through it, I got this vibe of like WR Mysteries of the Organism, and I was like, John really hated that movie, but he must have liked this movie.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Yeah. No, I like to answer the question that's not been asked. I like this movie. And I still like this movie, having watched it.
It's got like a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes, and it won it.
I want somebody to explain to me why.
Yeah, exactly.
I was hoping it would be one of you guys.
It's you know what I was thinking about today is it's a little bit like Fight Club, but instead of fist fights, it's like surrealist jokes, like Dadaist humor or absurdist humor.
No one in this movie behave like for a movie that comes at you in a very naturalistic style,
It's not natural.
like camera kind of hiding in the back room, just watching people talking. Like
Yes,
the camera work and the direction does not draw attention to itself. The acting is very naturalistic, but nobody in this movie behaves rationally on any level.
Anka does. The
Oh,
one
yeah,
character I will
she-
defend.
not
The
her,
one character
not
I will
her.
def- not
Not
no.
her.
The one character I will defend in this movie, the best character in the movie is Anka, the assistant.
Yeah.
She is great.
Yeah.
The
mostly bug-eyed, might add.
This one here,
Yes.
this one here,
Yes.
he shows up naked to the
He's-
apartment.
terrified all the time,
right.
trying not to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give you that.
She's Romanian, so she is a little bit of a fish out of water in this group of Germans and other foreign nationals. Even though it's her country, she is still a fish out of water the entire time. she's trying to speak German and
Yes.
often having to resort to speaking English
Yes.
so people can understand her. That scene's amazing. Like
Yeah,
she's
that's what-
so good in that scene where she's like, okay, I'm here to help you. And then yes, the scene where she shows up naked at the apartment and she's like, Tim told me that you wouldn't answer the door if I wasn't naked, which is like, one, fuck you, Tim. And then two, the part where sorry, there's two more things. One is when she's like, this isn't a sex thing, right? And
Yeah, she says that.
and Ines is like, no. And she goes, oh, it's a challenge. Okay, I got it.
This is kind of
Like,
also the number 3 is this is how I keep my job, right?
right.
Right.
And then
But
and
none
then
of that made any fucking sense to me.
No, okay, well,
That
why?
hold on.
entire
One
sequence.
more thing. One more
Oh,
thing.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
And then she gives her the present, and the present is the calculator.
Yeah.
And Ines has this moment when she opens it of like, why did you give me this? And Anka goes, oh, it's because you keep asking for mine. And then she realizes like, this is this person reaching out to me and like trying to be a human. Like she's legitimately trying to be a human in the way that she rejects her dad's cheese grater gift. She like has a moment with that calculator of like, oh, this is someone trying to have a human connection with me.
Right.
And it's so I feel so bad for her through the whole movie because it's like everyone just looks at her as being this kind of piece of shit because she's an assistant, and it's like she's maybe the most perceptive person in the movie.
She's one of the only ones I didn't loathe.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think she did anything particularly good or bad.
I hated her dad from the very first scene, and all the way to the end.
Oh, well, yeah.
Very first scene where he is introduced, I hated him immediately.
Everyone else in this movie is reprehensible.
Yeah. Although I thought there wasn't too much wrong with the daughter. I can't Sandra.
Well,
Bullock's
I mean,
character.
listen, I know her probably more than I want to. Like, oh yeah, yeah, sure, I've had my moments. But
she's not a human. That first question he asks is the best one.
I know, but if I had that guy with the fake teeth hanging around, I wouldn't talk
while you were at work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, but then you see her
get kicked to Siberia so fast.
But then you see her at work, and you see that she is the uptight, like
The German type.
the murderer. That that whole scene where she explains
This
like what
jackass
outsourcing
is not going to fix that.
No. But that whole scene where she explains what outsourcing is and explains how like they're going to convince them to do that, and then be like, oh well, then the papers get to say it's a consulting firm, and it's like, you're the bad person.
Yes, she is.
She is.
And that's, I think, part of why she's so uptight. I mean, she's already sort of wired that way, but now she has this job where she is the bad person. She is the terrible person that they're going to say, well,
she's George Clooney and Up in the Air.
Plus, by the time of the birthday party,
Much better
you figure
movie.
out
Yeah.
that
Well, mind
she's
you,
just
fuck
like
that
her
movie also.
father.
And all the elements of this being a comedy are in place. She's got this terrible job where she has to do terrible things to
It's
people.
not a comedy.
Hold on, let me finish my thought. And then the dad comes along, who is this wacky dad with the teeth and the handcuffs and the thing
polar
like that.
opposite.
And if this was done in a different way, this film would have been hilarious. But it wasn't. It was like a horror film.
We've had a good German comedy on this show.
Yeah, the pressure
Thank
on
Robert
her.
One.
I know. I'm not saying Germans can't make good comedies. They do. But
no, they just didn't in this case.
They just did in this one. It's just got worse and worse. And I think
it's a
that the whole
different
thing with the
kind
naked
of
party
comedy.
was just basically her mental breakdown.
Okay,
It's
all
like-
right. Did I miss something? Because it seems like we get to the naked party very quickly and without
Well,
any
she snapped,
foreshadowing.
obviously.
It's
She's
near the
right.
end. It's at the 2-hour mark.
They're snapping. I think the karaoke party was the last straw, and then this is her just like, fuck it.
So she's getting dressed. She's struggling to zip up the thing, and then
Which is amazing. Her trying struggling with that
down
dress.
to deal with her shoes. And halfway, I watched this twice. It's like, did I miss something? Halfway through all that, she's like, "Fuck it, I'm taking my clothes off."
Yeah, that's the
everybody
breakdown
else
part.
put their clothes off too.
That's the part where she's like, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. And the thing is, like, the elements of work and pressure and her father, I think, finally did her in.
I guess
and then Steph and Tim just bail on her.
Yeah.
Like, and
well,
then
like any normal, rational person would.
Exactly.
and then it's her awful boss who decides to come
all right,
back. He
fine, this is
leaves
what's
and then
happening.
comes back
Exactly.
naked.
Uh-huh.
And then her assistant, who is just like, I'm
Sweet
doing
and
this
loyal.
because I'm doing this because it's the only thing that's going to let me keep my job.
Right.
Like,
My
and then her
German
dad's
isn't good
there
enough.
dressed as an what is it,
Weird
Ikui?
Sasquatchy thing.
Yeah, the kind of cuckoo something or
I
other.
mean,
Kukeri.
And her boss
Kukeri,
just
yeah.
keeps
I
saying,
Which was an amazing costume, might I
it's a
add.
great costume.
I have seen one of these in real life. There's
Uh-huh.
one
Oh,
at the
really?
Seattle Art Museum,
Uh-huh.
and
It's
it
great.
is unbelievable.
It's a
sure.
great costume.
Although
I-
the
Is it
actor
human
said
hair?
that it smells like a herd of goats.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does. It's all goat fur. It's all long-haired goat fur, right?
Was that what it is?
Also,
Yeah.
how is Dad making this all happen money-wise? He doesn't
He's
seem like a person who
he's
has a lot of cash
civil
on him.
servent. He works for the school district.
Oh, okay, all right, maybe he
He's
can do
being
that.
paid his salary.
And this is
he's
Germany,
trying-
so it's kind of socialized a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I went and
Plus,
read.
it's
a dozen
Romania.
reviews. I finished this movie.
Right. Also, doing this in Romania probably a lot cheaper.
Yeah, right.
True. Yeah.
I finished this movie. I went straight to IMDb and I read a dozen reviews, all glowing, and I'm like, I don't understand what I missed, but I just could not with this thing.
Uh-huh.
Not one. I mean, first off, what I will say is, this we've we've done 3 movies now. With
This is
her.
3 Sandra Huller film. No, we didn't. We didn't actually.
Well, we didn't technically watch the not the concentration camp thing, but
We
she
did
is
not.
fucking fearless.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fearless.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like that's like the one thing I wrote down. Like, man, she gets all like to get this script and to without flinching full commitment to this weird ass character that he
Oh
wrote.
yeah.
She wrote for her.
And I mean, just unassailable as an actor.
Fearless.
She's so
Oh, yeah.
good in every scene.
And she doesn't have to swing for the
she's
rafters.
got
All
the
she has to do is
fake-
react. She's
The
reactive.
problem is, it just
Yeah.
didn't. It's like I'm watching
Still
like
overplays it.
these are aliens from another planet speaking a language I don't understand, and everybody else is laughing, and I'm sitting here stone faced.
Although I'm going to flip this around. You know, this is a cringe comedy is a certain type of comedy.
I don't think this is a comedy. Like,
No,
I
it's not-
disagree
okay, it's
with
not
the
comedy.
basic
It's a
premise of
cringe
this
drama.
movie.
What do you want to call it?
A cringe comedy is kind of like a horror film.
It
You-
is. But
guess.
what is it that's either deficient or different about this from, say, it's like a cringe type comedy? What is the
It's
thing?
not funny. There's
not
nothing
That is
funny.
I think it's really funny.
John thought it was really
Wow.
funny. I didn't think it was funny. And the thing is, I can see that people watching this probably think it might be hilarious. But I think they also might have OD'd on Seinfeld.
They
but
almost
that's just
remade
me.
this with Nicholson.
Yeah.
They
There you
almost
go.
made this, yes,
What
Lisa
was that film?
Scorsese, right after it came out because it was such a big hit on the art house circuit. We're gonna redo an American version.
And like Emma Stone or somebody as the
No,
daughter.
And Nicholson
Wig.
playing the dad.
Kristen Wiig was going to
Kristen Wiig. Even worse.
I mean,
Actually, I can see that working.
Actually, you know what this reminded me of a lot? And this was like a kind of a left field association, you know, with the handheld photography and kind of intimate kind of feel to it. A little bit like The Wrestler. Because, you know, that this is kind of the dad who's kind of on the outs
naturalistic.
and trying to like reconnect with the daughter and
Yeah.
No, the wrestler exists in this weird, like slightly heightened state, and I don't
It is.
feel like
It's
this
just-
movie does.
No, it's a similar. The Wrestler is
No,
almost
this
kind
is
of Wrestler's almost, it's
realism.
almost like a allegorical.
It is allegorical. If you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
listen to
exactly.
that song,
This is not an allegorical movie.
the actual song, the wrestler from the wrestler, is telling you it's an allegory.
Yeah,
Like, it's
okay, that's good.
literally it's beating you over the head with it being an allegory.
I mean, this thing, because, I mean, yes, all these really weird and absurd things happen, but as far as like her life and the conversations she has with her coworkers, those seemed really accurate to me, like really specific.
Oh,
and
I
believe,
The realism thing.
I
yeah.
can concur. They are, in fact, extremely accurate.
yeah, I mean,
Chris,
it's not
Chris,
real.
Chris is the one
I
who's
worked
running
in a
companies like
corporation
this.
for 35 years in the office.
Uh-huh.
Here's
Yeah,
the thing we're
it's
going to
all-
present. Here's the extreme position we're going to present that we know they're not going to pick. I mean, just the way she was.
All that shit
prepping-
was spot on.
Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
I know that.
everything
No,
else.
if you have if you ever have to
Particularly
do
the
a
dynamic.
presentation for a powerful person, you give them two options that aren't the options you want them to pick, and then the option you do want them to pick, and you tailor the
Right.
experience so that it points at the one that you want.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this movie is that guy's so far gone that he's like, actually, let's do the worst one.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go for the worst.
And then they got caught with their pants down. It's like, well,
Right.
we're not prepared to do that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no,
I think
didn't
that
have a problem with
that is actually when she breaks. I don't think it's
Really?
the karaoke scene.
No,
I think
I
she
think it's a
breaks.
slow burn.
I think
It
she
was.
breaks. I think she breaks when this thing that she's worked so hard for, that she's narrowed all the way down for, because she wants out. And if they pick the middle position, she gets to leave and go to Singapore.
Right.
Like, as soon as that doesn't happen, and he's like, no, you have to be here for a year. Like, they want you to stay. They want you to run this. Like,
Oh
you have
yeah,
you have
That's
to
a
be
really
here for
good point.
another year.
that's a really good point.
That's what breaks her brain.
That's
I
actually
probably, yeah.
the
And
final
what she
spot.
does is she goes back inside with him. She fakes a phone call on her phone and goes back outside and finally has that conversation with her dad.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's like, I've been putting up with you doing this. And he's like, I'm not your father. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm
and
Toni
then the
Erdmann.
movie somehow continues for another hour and a half.
Yeah,
Right.
it's very strange. But yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
yeah, just to say though, that karaoke scene. That
Hold
we-
on. That's something a little sing at the end
did
of
like
it.
2.5 full minutes of her singing that song.
She sang the whole song.
Fearless.
Yeah.
Yes, to me that is the fearless scene. It's not the nude scene.
Fearless.
It's the karaoke scene.
Oh
that-
no, I would argue it's the karaoke scene.
I thought it was simply a capper into a very interesting sequence where it was an Romanian Easter party, right? That's what it was going. So they walk in and I see all his gals sitting around and all his food sitting around, and I swear to God, for about 3 minutes, I thought he had taken her to a whorehouse.
No, but it was just it's like,
you know what I mean?
want
It kind of had that weird sleazy girl standing around doing nothing.
You want to
look.
go in the back?
Exactly. It was like,
I
what
want
the
you to
fuck is
go-
happening? But it
We're gonna
wasn't. It was
do
just
this-
a
Yeah, but do you want to go in the back and sing some Whitney Houston?
exactly.
We're gonna
But-
do it,
but-
Back and dye
You're
some
gonna
eggs.
sing Whitney Houston, and I want you to sing badly, but not like obviously movie badly, like badly the way an actual person would sing
An
badly.
actual person who's a pretty decent singer.
Like fuck.
But
Yeah.
okay, well,
I wanted to crawl under the table, but at the same time, I'm like
Hey, she's doing pretty good.
And she's
really
belting
good.
it out.
That's why I'm a backup singer, not a lead singer. That's how
Yeah,
I
there
know
you
I'd
go.
fuck that up. But it's so you know, that the whole thing is that scene is the dad actually he's kind of connects with this thing. He appreciates it and likes what he's seeing in his party and the whole party, and she's just getting more and more alienated by it until she finally does the thing and runs off. So it flipped it around. There was one point where you actually see the most sympathetic. I thought.
Yeah, I guess.
I did kind of say good for her when she finished the song and just fucking bolted like down the stairs. She didn't say goodbye to anybody.
No,
Thank you.
We'd all do the same thing.
There, I did it.
It's like literally the mic drop.
It was the mic drop.
Also, this film and the other one we saw had the exact same endings, where the film runs out of the camera, and you know, it's so.
Yeah,
it's like,
kind of.
what do you think that ending meant? And it was she goes out with the funny hat, the fake teeth, says, "I'll
He
get
left.
I'll get my photo," and he just doesn't come
He
back.
just left.
Was it like, I think it was kind
That's
of
the prank. The
Okay.
prank is making her stand there with the fake teeth and the hat.
well, he is really a piece of shit.
He's not coming back.
He is a piece of shit. No, he's
Okay.
not coming back.
It's
Yeah.
so annoying.
Or just like maybe the time it takes to find his camera, she's like thinking about the whole thing. Well, okay, I reached out, I gave Dad a hug as a giant monster, and now I realize he's never going to change, and I'm not going to change. So fuck it.
And I also think she took the teeth out of his pocket and put them in her mouth. She
Right.
put a funny hat, and it's like now she has reached the state that he wanted her to be in.
Uh-huh.
The whole 2 hours and 44 minutes.
Exactly.
He has reached the greatest settled success.
Now the student
Yeah.
has become the teacher.
Yeah.
As we're talking, I'm not going to turn my thumb around, but what I'm realizing talking to you guys is I was never bored, but it is weird that I've ever
I was
this
extremely bored.
baffled for this long watching it.
That's a good way of putting it.
I think I had an expression on my face that was like
Huh.
for like 2.5 hours, just like sitting like, what the fuck is happening right now?
I was
completely baffled.
extremely bored. Like my
was-
thumb is down 100% comes from the fact that there's so many moments in this movie where nothing is happening and it's not advancing anything. Like
The
it's
Yes,
just
entire
good.
first hour of this movie is all
Set up. It's
on
all
the
set up.
table.
Yeah.
An hour.
And a lot of the details about the business machinations going on there are completely unnecessary.
it's like you could have had the scene with them in the car, like the three of them in the car,
yeah.
her and Tim and the boss, and like you can then just skip the presentation scene
Right.
Like you can do the part where she's poking at her toe and she gets the blood on her and
Oh,
that stuff,
Uh,
but you can skip the presentation
That was
after that.
gross.
Like,
That was so fucking
like,
gross.
like you don't need to have that whole thing play out on camera, because then you can just cut to, oh yeah, her talking to Tim and being like, it went well.
I
you
think
know,
I
or
agree. I
whatever.
think I can kind of agree with that, Tad, and I'll also agree that given the whole entire running time of the thing, it feels like it's too much.
Mhm.
But I can't point to any one scene and say that's not a good scene, because each scene contains good stuff. It's well written. It's
So
well
that's
good.
so that's the thing. That's the thing, is that the director has said that there was a shorter cut of this movie,
Mhm.
and then she was like, "It hurts the pacing," and I'm like, "No, no, 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 no,
That's the
no."
fucking problem.
Also,
You went
one thing about
you
okay,
went the other direction.
you have a nearly
ran through the
3 hour.
Looney
Yeah,
Tunes. You ran through the Looney Tunes tunnel and came out on the other side.
exactly.
My
Also,
experience
a nearly
now
3 hour,
seeing it
3 hour long film that you don't want to cut down because it hurts the pacing. You're exactly backwards. But there's
Yeah.
also kind of talking about cringe. It made me cringe, and I realized as a writer, one of my worst things is killing. The hardest thing to do is kill your babies. Right? It's like, how do you express this in one tiny scene?
And
How do you
she
express
could
this
not.
in a look? And she just like. This is like this is an unedited script. Just like we're gonna put everything down and we're not gonna cut it back because I want the audience to suffer. I'm guessing.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I'd say
She fell in love with her own writing.
on second viewing, there's no discovery for me. I knew where the movie was going, even though it had been a few years and I didn't remember the specifics of every scene. I knew the general direction. We were going to get the karaoke scene. We were going to get the nude party. You know, I knew where it was going.
Right.
So there wasn't that sort of discovery and anticipation of, wow, what's he going to do next? I knew. So on second viewing, I was like, yeah, they could have picked up the pace on any one of these scenes, and like you said, probably omitted you.
You
Combined,
could have easily cut 40 minutes out of this movie and told the same story with the
Yeah.
same pathos.
I agree.
Probably right.
Yeah.
And actually, I
And
think
it's
if you
still 2
did,
hours.
I think if you did cut 40 minutes out and make this a 2-hour movie, it works better, not necessarily as a comedy, because I don't think it works as a
Actually,
comedy at all,
it would lift up some comedy into it.
but I think it would work better as the drama that it actually is, which is this sort of tragedy about these two people who just can't fit together.
Mhm.
Like, and like, I don't think that's a bad plot. I just think that all of the downtime in the movie just sort of makes you go, why do I care about these people again?
Exactly.
Like,
Why am
I
I on this
spend
ride?
a lot of time thinking about how shitty she is. I think spend a lot of time thinking about shitty he is. And it's like, don't make me do that. Like, let me care about how they don't fit together.
Yep. Jim's been awfully quiet.
Matt, well, no, he said he started this off, didn't he?
I'm sorry. I'm going back then. All right. See,
It like the movie. It's
we've been
been so
talking
long.
so long. The film was so long. I forgot we had this conversation at the beginning.
I have seen a lot of German comedies, a lot of different kinds of German comedies, and this one seems to fit in to a certain type. It's just sort of, reduced to the absurdity, and they really play it earnestly, which is probably what a lot of people found so funny. That in a lot of comedies, everyone, all the characters are aware it's a comedy, and they're all sort of.
Well, that's what they call it. The farce is one of them is they don't know they're in a comedy.
Right.
There's two kinds of funny movies. One where the characters know they're in a funny movie, and the one where they don't.
Right.
Yeah, this is the one where they don't, which is to me always better.
I don't know.
I would agree with you if I laughed. If I'm laughing,
I did laugh. I mean,
I don't think
parts to
most of
it,
the characters in Albert Brooks movies think they're in comedies. Lots in America.
Yeah, I mean, we
don't
saw
know.
that Albert Brooks movie.
We watched Real Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that
It's
the one
same sort of thing as this. I mean,
at the 40-minute mark, when when what's her name and their friends were having the fun drinks at the bar, and then Toni Erdmann shows up. First time, actually, that's when I had to take my first break. It's like, okay, that's your unbelievable coincidence coming in right there. Boom.
Well, and again, this is
It's not an unbelievable coincidence. He's stalking her.
I know, but the circle that woman hangs around with, they're not super sophisticated, but they're sophisticated enough that if this fucking guy came
With
anywhere
the fry
within
wig and the fake teeth.
10 feet of them, they would quickly gather their drinks and go to the other side of the bar.
Well, they
would-
basically, but hold on, but they do basically do that.
yeah.
Like, there are multiple people in this movie,
Mhm.
including her friends, who are basically like, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's the one who gives, like, when he's leaving, she gives him her card,
Mhm.
and then is like, he didn't even have a card to give me. And then the next time you see him, he suddenly has a card to give away because he realizes that's what you have to do.
I know,
to
but
be
it's
in this.
He's a life
So
coach.
all of him. It's the fucking hair. and
This is the Patch
teeth.
Adams thing again.
The
See,
ridiculous teeth, the obviously fake wig.
Okay,
You
all
know,
right.
Funnier than an Adam Sandler movie. I'll be honest.
I don't
I
like
thought
those
that-
either.
I thought this was
I'm open.
German fetish porn myself. It's just torture porn. It just was dressed up nicer.
No, no, no,
It's
no.
just all about the,
Haneke's fun and
yeah.
games.
Haneke was
Funny-
probably
funny
Haneke
games.
was probably rolling the aisles when he saw this one. It's like this is what I want to do.
I
It
just
was
want
good
to point
movie
out.
summer.
I want to point out that Chris looks like Brian Bloom in that
What
scene.
the hell? Yeah.
In that scene in the A-Team where they're driving around with him in the back of the car, and he's like, "Please don't let me let this guy shoot me," because
Yeah.
he's like trying to put the silencer on.
Lean
he
forward a
drops
little
the-
tiny bit, Chris. That way it'll be proportional. Oh, there you go. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
All right. It's his last car
You
ride.
should all be mouthing Bohemian Rhapsody.
There you go. All right.
Well,
Well,
two of them have the hair for it, but unfortunately not Chris.
all right. This is
Yeah,
it.
no, big.
Ugh.
And again,
feel like
she's
it.
Sorry,
fucking-
man.
She's fearless, but this movie
A
baffling.
divisive week on yelling about.
Nice mix. I have to admit.
Now you know what it's like to be Jim, John.
Yeah.